What's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining me for a special Rainmakers report. And I am joined by three awesome co-hosts that are deep into the NFL Rainmaker streets, just like me. So they're going to bring the energy as long as I do. And if you guys know me, that's pretty much all I do here. And I'm joined by the Metaverse_HQ on Twitter. So Metaverse HQ team, followed by we've got Jake, we've got Poopaloop, and we've got JJ joining. So I'm going to bring up the quad box. And guys, we're just a few weeks away from the Octo box. We were all having a laugh about that before the show. So thanks so much for joining me. Jake, I'm going to start over with you. You and I were talking a little PGA streets. We got the Wyndham Championship this week. You've got a good lineup yourself. So thanks for joining me. And talk to me about what you got going on over at Metaverse and what you're doing here.
Yeah, of course. What's up? I'm Jake, or Jake and Bake. I'm founder over at Metaverse HQ. We're kind of a community of NFT and crypto traders, builders, investors. We just love the space in general. And we also kind of started out as actually a Top Shot Discord community, believe it or not. So we have deep roots in sports as well. So a lot of huge sports fans. That's why all of us are big into Rainmakers. So I'm super excited to talk through what we got going on. I got a sweat for PGA already going. We were just talking about in Rainmakers, first place at the moment. Cross my fingers. Very early though.
He's got a hold on that one, right?
But yeah, I'm excited to get into it. Thanks for having us on, Jason.
Awesome. And Poop, you guys got a really good community over there at Metaverse. And talk to us a little bit about that and what you're excited for the upcoming season.
Yeah, sure. Appreciate it, Jason. Yeah, my name's Poopaloop. Feel free to call me Mike as well if that doesn't quite roll off the tongue like you want it to.
Nope.
But yeah, we like Jake alluded to, we have a bustling community that really we pride ourselves on kind of the diversity of our expertise of not only our staff but our members as well. And that shines through multiple layers, both in Web3 and otherwise. And we have a very active Rainmakers and DFS fantasy sports betting chat as well, where that expertise definitely shines through. So looking forward to another NFL season here with Rainmakers. I've really enjoyed, obviously, NFL season 1, PGA as well, and kind of really looking forward to kind of some of the advanced integrations here that the product team is going to roll out here over on DraftKings as well.
Yeah. I love to see that DraftKings not giving up on this product. It was so well loved. And JJ, I'll bring you on now, man. Are you as excited for season 2 as us, or what?
Oh man, so excited! I always tell these guys when NFL season's out, I get depressed, and it's just that lull period for about 4 to 6 months where I get over it. But we're coming back tonight with the preseason game, and I got to echo Poop's sentiments. Just super excited about the season. Last season we were both bridesmaids in the elite contest, but hopefully we'll fix that this year.
Yeah, hey, listen, still a decent payout there in that bridesmaids, but we're gonna work on getting to that first place, of course, this year. Now, I mentioned at the top, DraftKings, the Rainmakers is really growing, and it caught the wave of really that crypto industry over the last couple of days, being the #1 trading, and you guys can talk a little bit more about this than I can, on the polygraph, correct? So I come from really the fantasy sports side, and you guys can kind of tie into this Web3 and NFT angle. Had a huge day, over 2,300 users, over 1 million in volume and sales. I don't know who wants to jump in and talk about this, but just tell me a little bit about what I just mentioned there and how important it is for the game overall.
Yeah, I think it's great because I think I saw a tweet like, does anyone know what DraftKings is? It's #1. I'm not.
Yeah, here it is right here. Yep.
Right here.
DraftKings. Yep.
Yeah, hilarious. I mean, that's cool. It kind of gives more attention to the broader crypto world that there's actually NFTs, sports NFTs that you can play games with and win money with. Everyone looks for utility in NFTs. That's the big word, utility in NFT projects. And, DraftKings really delivers some pretty great utility.
Oh, classic rug.
Yeah. Was that me? Nope. Okay. All right.
Man, he was grooving too.
He was grooving, but I guess I'll take over there. Yeah, the classic utility. given to the fans, and you get to keep your cards and trade your cards for investing in these players. And what excites me specifically is, I talk to a lot of my fantasy friends about this. A lot of them are like, NFTs scams, whatever, crypto scam, whatever. But they hear Rainmakers, they're like, oh man, that's exciting. I mean, can we do that for our personal league? And it just opens my mind up to the opportunities coming down the line. And if this was a decades long product, and just going down those different avenues.
Yeah, I totally agree, JJ. It brings in so many great aspects of what we like about fantasy sports, right? But allows you to have so much more control. Home leagues, like you said, you can do so many different things with that. I certainly love the product. So really excited when I saw that, the growth in it. Now, the number of users that came yesterday. Now, you guys know maybe from talking to me a little bit, I love golf. That was how I got into this industry, through DFS Golf. And really, a lot of it was through this FedEx Cup pack. Now, what they've done here is they've taken the structure of the FedEx Cup playoffs, which is a 3-week run out starting next week. And what they've done is they created a side set for PGA Rainmakers. In those set, you get the top 100 players. So only 70 is going to make it. So there's going to be some dead cards. However, the nice thing is we just talked about utility. You're going to have utility for the rest of the year on those guys. And a lot of those guys will play at least 5 more times. Plus, what you're going to get with this contest is you're going to get 3 straight weeks of gated contests with an increasing prize pool. So as we can see here, I've got it on the screen for week 1, or starting next week, the FedEx St. Jude, you're going to get a $5,000 to first place. Pretty good. Then the field, so it goes from 70 to 50. And at the next week of the BMW Championship, we got a 20K to first. Again, just cards from this FedEx set. And lastly, which is such a big draw, the biggest prize for a weekly prize in PGA other than the World Championship, 50K to first at the Tour Championship, comprised of cards just from this set. Personally, guys, I absolutely love it. I loved when they did it for Thanksgiving and they did the Millie Maker, which they are going to run back. But Poop, JJ, either one of you guys, jump in, talk to me about the gated sets. You like this concept? Should we see more of it going forward?
Yeah, I'm honestly a little split on. I can see both sides of it. I love the gated component because I feel like it resets the playing field for people that aren't in already. Obviously, it allocates a large portion of the prize pool to these gated portions of a really highly visible part of the PGA season. I think the playoff championship part of PGA season is something that's extremely watchable, just like watching majors and things of that nature. So there's a large appeal that way. The selfish part of me wants that prize pool allocated back to the tournaments that we've been grinding all season for, right? And so we can allocate our portfolios and get a little more shelf life from them that way as well. But all things considered, I think it's going a long way to getting new people in the door, at least showcasing what Rainmakers is all about, which at the end of the day, I think is the most important part of all of this. I think the structure of the tournaments, you can talk back and forth about it a little bit here and there, but overall, you can sense and feel the overall excitement of the product, and we even see it in our chat in MVHQ as well. And there was a lot of surprise as well. I think that the playoff packs sold out as quickly as they did. So from that standpoint, right, it kind of goes to my point. Like, you kind of feel the momentum, and I love that part.
Yeah, and Jake, welcome back on, and JJ, if you want to jump in here too. I mean, did you partake in the packs? I did. I'm not going to lie. I've built together my team. I love the strategy component of saying, hey, listen, you've got to plan your portfolio to hopefully get the guys to the finals. And there's kind of a tournament within a tournament each week. So I've got my 5. I've got one lineup. I bought my 8 or 9 packs. Feel pretty good about my allocation. How about you, Jake? Did you get in with me as well?
Love that. I did scoop a couple packs. I ripped them and I sold all the guys because I got it during the pre-sale period, and they were super expensive. Like, they're going for crazy amounts.
Yep.
So I was just trying to take advantage of that, and I actually didn't even have very good packs, but I profited pretty nicely just because people were overpaying at first during the pre-sale period. But
yep.
I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's a good way to kind of end off the season for PGA. But personally, like I'm so laser focused on football that I kind of am like trying to reduce my PGA portfolio and then add football instead. Yeah, right now. So that's why I didn't get in. I still have plenty of other cards that I'm going to use outside of the playoff pack for guys. So I figured I'm kind of trying to reduce my portfolio instead of grow it here while we get into football.
And Jake mentioned a really cool aspect of Rainmakers is, hey, listen, you don't even have to play the cards because there's so much utility in them. There's that secondary market that, listen, if there's an edge, exactly like Jake said, talked about yesterday, prices were high when it first hit the market. Just another layer to this game that I truly do love.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I definitely love that part of the game. And, just to answer your first question there, I just love always seeing these big prize pools, gets the juices flowing for everybody in the Discord. You can feel the excitement, like Poop said. And, I always want more of them. And it just opens my mind again to the possibilities that can happen. I can definitely see this in NFL down the line, where you have kind of like a survivor kind of contest type, right? That would be so cool. Where you just use your limited pool that you enter at the start and see how far you can go. But at the same time, I really like that NFL specifically has these contests for Showdown where you earn kind of your entry into these international ones with the bigger prize pools. So I'm excited to hear more about that.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great segue into talking about NFL this season. A couple of things that DraftKings did announce, and we'll cover those just really quickly before we get into the breakdown. I'm really excited about the international series as well. I think it's a great chance to get players from those teams and get the added utility of each week. So here's the announcement in terms of pricing coming up for this year. We've got around $23 million roughly going to DFS pricing, specifically cash prizes. We've got another 3.4 in those gated contests, which that's awesome. I think that's, over 10% going to those. There's the two-sided thing, exactly like Mike Poop just talked about, and we'll get your opinion on that. Plus, something I actually do love, the 1 million in DFS satellite contest. I got a little bit of backlash during the keynote. Personally, I love it, though. I think it's a great way to turn the Rainmakers portfolio into DFS money and transfer it over. And then, of course, we get the $1 million football championship, the Rainmakers World Football Championship, and then $2.2 million going to the 2022 cards, giving us their promise, keeping their promise that we would have utility for last year's cards, 100K each week. We haven't seen quite the pricing breakout, but Mike, if you want to jump in, talk to us about, do you like the utility, or did you end up turning it into crafting tokens and looking for this year's cards? What did you do with your portfolio?
A little bit of both, to be honest. I still have a small amount of 2022 cards that I hung on to that I thought I could get a little extra extended life from. Maybe get some quality lineups out of for some of these separate contests here where we can use those cards. But I also took advantage of the crafting tokens and all that good stuff. And I think there's so many elements to Rainmakers. As we've talked about, and I do think it's fun and it's important to diversify a little bit into all of them because they do pop off at random moments, and I think just making sure that you're making the most of the opportunity that Rainmakers is giving you as the game continues to grow is extremely important as well. So I got a little bit of everything there. Probably not to the volume I wanted to, but that's also part of the fun element here as well, right? It's kind of that lotto feel. Like, are you going to be eligible for a pack? Are you going to get in that queue? What are these packs going to be? What are they going to be worth? So it all kind of adds to the intrigue. So that's kind of how I played it up until this point.
For sure. And Jake, we've been staring at these coffins for far too long.
Oh, I know.
We're probably within 10 days of getting to open them. But how about you? I mean, for me, I kept probably the best players, looking for maybe like a $5,000 first place prize for the 2022 cards. But how about you, Jake? More turnover than you expected, or kind of a little bit of both going into season 2?
Yeah, I think as far as pricing, I'd say I was slightly disappointed on the cash pricing for the GPPs. I think that went down a little bit, a few million, I believe. I will say in general, I'm happy about the amount of info that we're getting ahead of the season compared to last season, where we were literally just taking a leap of faith. Like it was, I mean, you had to have some balls to be able to actually like purchase those first packs that they did, because we had no clue what the prizes were, how the contests were going to work, or anything.
Yep.
When the first pack drop was last year, so. It's nice that we kind of have clear info this year, so we can actually make some educated decisions on what we're going to do and what our strategy is going to be. And so that's something that I'm looking forward to, is actually being able to kind of figure out where my edge is in different spots. It's a little easier this year, I would say.
For sure. And JJ, I just pulled up the contest kind of pricing structure for this year. A couple of things that, pop off the top of my head. We've got a nice kind of from core to elite through legendary or elite through Rainmaker as the season goes on. We've got a flatter structure at elite and above. So anything you liked or disliked in this, for me, I need to see the top prize at the elite before I'm ready to jump on, to be completely honest.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, me and Poop, we got the second in the elite. So while I was kind of disappointed at first a little bit, I realized, it's probably just skimming off the top a bit there. So I want to really wait and see what the prizes are like, just because, you had mentioned that earlier that, we just got to wait and see. But, a lot of the top players, were complaining about Legendary and Rainmaker specifically about the prize pools. So I love to see that they reallocated it and they listened. I think that's the most important part to me, is that they listened to the community, and especially their biggest supporters, the ones who took the leaps of faith at the start with the Genesis packs all the way through now, right? And so, I still think there's plenty of opportunity here, right? Just looking at our chops, just looking at this first week slate, and this rush set that's coming out. I'm getting ahead of myself, but it favors mass multi-entry, which a lot of us do, especially with this. So just getting excited here, and I've kept a lot of my 2022 cards as well, so have a big allocation of that ready to go and target those deep rosters. So yeah, just overall excited about this prize pool.
Yeah, I would guess, and I've done a little bit of modeling, I think we're going to see 50K to first at elite. That's kind of what I've seen in the models, around 150,000 to the elite prize pool for the classic contest. For me, I'm cool with that. Like, of course, I love the 100K. Jay, I echo the same sentiment as you do. Like, I love that top prize. That was the big draw for me.
But I got to say, the 50 is great. And, one thing with PGA that I really liked was if you min cashed, it was actually a really good payout. I think it was like 200 at elite. Legendary was 500. Last year with Rainmakers NFL, it was I think $100 for an elite cash. So it's like, is that really exciting? But if they follow the PGA payout structure, I have no complaints with that.
Yeah. Jake, Mike, any qualms with playing for 50K versus 100? Does that it upsets me a little bit, but again, I think if we're going to move up to that next tier at Legendary or Rainmaker, we'll like that change, I guess.
Yeah, the 100K is definitely a nice draw. It's I'd say there is some I guess I don't know the word for it, but it's still good, the fact that we get the world championship as well. So we can kind of, if you can get that and qualify for that, then you can play for an even bigger prize.
Yeah.
The 100K. I'm not sure if they've said exactly what pricing details is on that for first place, but I got to think it's at least 100K. Yeah, probably. Yeah. So, I mean, that's fun. And then this first set right away, right? We get half entries from this play action set as well. So, I look forward to firing a bunch of packs here soon.
Yeah, that's a great point. Let's talk about these packs that are coming up. We were supposed to get them today, right? But maybe they didn't expect the amount of support. We don't know. Of course, they'll never tell us, but we're going to get something maybe next week. They're going to let us know. And what we do know, at least, we do know a couple of things, and I'll just run through those really quick. We do know we're going to get the play action set. It's going to come in a couple of different ways. First is going to be the preseason packs. Those are going to run $19.99. A good way to start to build your portfolio. They're going to come 6 cards. 1 out of every 2 packs will have a rare plus. I will tell you, though, at the elite and above in those preseason packs, not a great distribution. It's all role players, kickers, or defense. But if you're playing the deep roster or showdowns, those certainly can come into play. And those are the chances that you'll have at those. Then you step up to the first set that they call the standard packs from the play action. It's $4.99. You're going to get 5 cards. 4 are rare or better, and then 1 is a guaranteed elite or better. So let's start with that pricing. A little bit more expensive than we saw last year, guys. So, Michael, I'll turn it to you first. Is that a little bit of a turnoff to you, or the fact that you're getting Rare Plus at that $500 level, is that still okay for you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's okay. I think for anyone that is used to kind of the marketplace action of Rainmakers, that has maybe some of the more seasoned players that have been through the gauntlet a couple times and kind of prepare for that kind of expenditure. Yep. Then it makes sense, but it worries me a little bit just in terms of growth of the game. I think some of those price points might be a little deterrent. And that is, I think a carryover feedback even from last year, where I think we all understand the importance of the growth of the game just to make it as sustainable as possible here moving forward. And while we've talked about a lot of the momentum and positive things that have come along with the product into year 2 here, you got to make that price point accessible in my eyes, at least at the lower ranges. So I understand it, but I'm not sure, I understand pushback on it as well, especially for people that are looking to get in, but maybe mentally, aren't prepared to make that type of, spend that much money.
Yeah, it does seem with that price point that they're pricing the core players out of the rare and above levels for at least the first couple of weeks. JJ, I do like the $20 price point, though, for core. And I will tell you, the pack distribution looks pretty good at what you're going to get from that $20. So if they do maybe have a top-heavy core first-place prize, I'm okay with it. But I will say I think it is pricing out more people from those upper tiers.
Yeah, I love the core pack specifically. $20, hard to beat that, especially with the buy 3 get 1, right? So there's even more value there. I'm excited even about like role players and kickers and defense at Elite Plus, because a lot of us guys here, we do like late swap, and we need those duds. We need those. We need those fillers for our lineups. So
Showdown.
Showdowns. Yep. Definitely gonna hit those hard. But I just laughed because Poop mentioned we budgeted it out this season, because last season we were like, hey, let's rip some packs, right? All of a sudden 10 packs become 100, become 1,000, become maybe 10,000 between Metaverse HQ members, and it's just this constant feedback loop. So
3 a.m. pack rips just on a whim, sure.
So I kind of like the higher price point here, because at least we're guaranteed we're gonna get like 4 elites that are good in our lineup, and a legendary or a royal or Rainmaker player that we're gonna use. So really liking that. And I kind of feel 2 ways about the whole cores being down and pricing people out of the rares, because rares I noticed even through last season, rares seem to be the primary focus of these special sets, these international sets, and you kind of want to keep the value up there. And I can see the reason to do so, right? Because you're going to have a lot of the money funneling into like the Dead Fellas or whatever similar partnership this season, and you don't want those cards to fall too much in value. Whereas last season it kind of tanked because there were so many at that range. So I'll reserve judgment until then, but I kind of see it both ways. I think it was a necessary change, but I think core players will probably get a good deal out of these packs, because there's superstars, there's skill starters, players that you can use in lineups.
Yep. And on the other side of that spectrum, Jake, is the next pack level up, the premium pack. Going to retail for $29.99, so $2,999.99, and that has the same basically distribution of QB1s, superstars, and skill starters as the core does for that level. So if you want to play at elite and better, I actually do think this pack is really good. They did something very similar with PGA, that how they structured their Genesis packs that were a little bit more expensive. Although there's probably more dead players in those, Jake, than there are available in these packs. So price point may be high, but what you're getting in there is pretty good.
Yeah, we were breaking down the packs yesterday. When they released the CSV, trying to figure out, what's the try to like figure out a guesstimate of the EV. It's kind of hard when there's no real cards out yet, but yeah, I think it's a good price point for what is in the packs. I'm pretty excited to rip some premium packs. Though the one qualm I have is the Royal. I don't really understand why that would be in replacement of like a legendary or a Rainmaker. The franchise score that you get from it doesn't make up for the nearly enough of the difference between a rare and a legendary. So I don't really didn't understand that decision at all. Really wish those weren't in there. But I was looking through them. I do like the chance at a Rainmaker. I think it was like a 1 in 9 chance. At hitting a Rainmaker in those packs, which is really nice. And I mean, they're good cards too. Like it's not, you're not getting a crappy Rainmaker out of it. You're getting a skill starter or QB1 out of it too. So, yeah, I'm super excited. I think it's great. I'm crazy excited for the preseason. Honestly, I'm like a nerd over preseason stuff because I love just like getting into like the role player guys and figuring out how they're going to do and just it's like your first taste of football, right? So I'm glad they made those super accessible, those preseason packs, because I plan to rip a bunch of those and play some contests.
Yeah, and I think the price point on those is really good. It may draw a lot more people into the game at the beginning. Again, we talk about it. It's like, well, if there are more people in, does that reduce your edge? Well, no, it increases the prize pools. It's the only way to get the prize pools up is to broaden these games. So, and again, you can create your own portfolio. That's what I always tell people. I'm like, if you want the optimal lineup each week, the optimal projected, you can go and buy that. You can have that if that's what you want. So, a little bit of course, different from the DFS side of the game. So, all right, let's talk about a couple of players. First, let's talk about Superstar. Any surprises on there for you guys? For me, I didn't really get surprised about it all too much. Maybe CD Lamb, he was off and on it last year, and they just included him this year. But he was probably like the biggest question mark. Obviously, the Jonathan Taylor news, maybe it could have gone one way or the other, but it was kind of released right when they talked about him being maybe traded. So, JJ, I'll start with you. Anybody that caught your eye there for the good side or the bad side?
Oh, just CD Lamb, just kind of like you mentioned. I was intrigued by how they did the Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase decision this time around because last time they changed it to Burrow midseason. I guess they changed it back. I kind of like that. I'd much rather have Joe Burrow at the non-superstar tier. I feel like it adds a lot more flexibility there in building your lineups. Otherwise, you're just slamming Jamar Chase in your bring-up spot most times and all your other lineups. So I really like the decisions they made this time around and not really a ton of surprises. Glad that they included Barkley in the Field Pass promo packs. I know that was kind of a, is he holding out or is he not holding out? I guess you could have made the argument for Josh Jacobs, but kind of a similar story there with the contract signing thing. And so I think that they made the right choices here.
Yeah, Mike, totally agree with JJ's take on getting Jamar Chase as the superstar here versus Burrow. Every lineup had Jamar Chase in it when he wasn't a superstar. So I love that. Anything else other than that stick out to you about the list?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more there. It was such a bummer also when Chase and Burrow were superstars at the same time, especially when you had kind of been banking on Burrow for the earlier portion of the season. So, I don't think there were any glaring omissions. Yeah, you guys called out the CD Lamb. I think you can make a case for or against there, but I don't mind it as much. Jacobs, like JJ mentioned, certainly could make a case for it based off of production alone last year. I know he really had his breakout season, but I think superstar player. I don't know if he's quite at that level yet. So I'm perfectly okay. As we know, they will amend this list throughout the season, right? So we can kind of see how that plays out. And again, like you guys alluded to, right there's that contract. This has been a really weird off season, right? Where there's a lot of things still up in the air, just in terms of how these holdouts are going to play out. I think we all know, or at least can take an educated guess how they're going to end. But it seems like there's some seriousness, at least in terms of Jonathan Taylor and Jacobs a little bit. I can understand excluding him for those reasons.
Yeah, and Jake, we've got another, call it maybe superstar on the rise at that running back position as well with Bijan Robinson, part of the rookie clash this year. So first, anything surprise you in the superstar element? And second, were you a buyer or are you a buyer of the Bijan Robinson rookie debut cards?
Yeah, I think they did a great job with superstars. I really don't have any qualms with it. I think, I mean, you could like nitpick a little bit. You could be like, if you're looking at best ball, ADPs, like Amon-Ra is pretty high up there. Maybe they could add him in there. But I mean, it all looks pretty great to me. I thought they did a good job with the superstar. As far as the rookie stuff, I do have one Bijan Elite that I'm pretty excited about. I got a bunch of Gibbs too, which I'm a huge fan of his game, and I'm also a huge Lions fan as well. So I'm hoping he comes through for me as well. In general, I loved what they did with the rookie debut stuff. I love that we get multiple years. It is perfect for having the rookies as well, because a lot of them have better second years as well. So yeah, I was a pretty heavy investor in the rookie stuff. I thought those were great value at the time.
Yeah, JJ, I loved everything they did about it, right? They did it pre-draft where you didn't know who was going to get it. So it was the element of, all right, Robinson's going to go first, but is he going to go to Philly? Is he going to go to Atlanta? So loved what they did there. I've been a buyer at the elite in down of a couple of guys. Wide receiver is maybe where I focus a little more. Gibbs scares me because I saw DeAndre Swift, Jake, for so many years, who I loved, and I just didn't play him. But we're going to get it with Gibbs. So, JJ, who have you been buying in the rookie set, if anybody?
Yeah, I love that you mentioned the receivers. I like Jackson Smith, Neva, and think that they're really good value. It almost feels like you're a GM in a way. It's like, oh, is he worth this price? I get multiple year utility. Maybe he develops in year 2, and I'm kind of free rolling it if he does. So it's a really cool way that they did it, and I love it. Just to echo what Jake said, but just focusing on those running backs there, and Jackson Smith, Neva, and then I'm thinking about picking up some of these quarterbacks as well, just to see, just take a flyer on them for future seasons.
Yeah, Mike, how about you? Any rookies that you like? Jordan Addison, maybe Minnesota, taking over Adam Thielen?
Yeah, I think I'm big on Gibbs too. I'll second that. I think with the rest of your crew here, both those rookie running backs, Bijan and Gibbs, obviously. I think the 4-pack of receivers, are still good values. To be honest, that 2-year window of opportunity to play these cards, like Jake alluded to, is so valuable. And I think there's a lot of meat on the bone for breakout, especially for wide receivers, right, from year 1 to year 2. And I think you can really see some of that value into year 2, especially with some of these rookie wide receivers. Obviously, JSN is getting a lot of camp buzz right now. Addison and Quentin in their own right have been creating some buzz as well. But I think Zay Flowers, coming into the season, probably was out of that 4-pack right there, probably a little bit more under the radar. There's still some questions about the Baltimore offense, and a lot of those things have kind of come into light here. And you always want to kind of take camp news and stuff and hype with a huge grain of salt, but a lot of the dominoes are starting to fall with that Baltimore offense, and I think it seems like Zay is really lighting it up during camp, and I think has a lot of room for that breakout upside here in year 1, probably more than the other 3. As much as I love JSN as well, just like that's a crowded wide receiver room as well, and he might be kind of the third fiddle there to start, whereas Zay might actually be working into more of a wide receiver 1 role here early on, so pretty excited about him.
Yeah, me too. $35 at the rare level, around $6 at the core. I mean, we know that we can play these players up, of course, too. 310 at the elite for Zay Flowers. That was the guy that I kind of highlighted as one that, man, as we move on, he's got the best chance to slide into that wide receiver 1 role. Of course, we love OBJ. I just think that the upside for Flowers is there. So I've been a buyer of his cards. when I saw him get drafted as the wide receiver 4, and I was holding that wide receiver 4 elite card from the pack, I was like, yes, all right, good. I got the one that I wanted there. Jake, any names that we haven't mentioned? I will say we'll take the best ball buzz a little bit here and apply it to Dalton Kincaid. He was really steaming at the beginning. He's part of these packs as I think it's added depth rookie is what he's under. So is he one that maybe you want to look at in these new packs that people may be a little lower on now, or anyone else that have cards currently?
Yeah, Kincaid's a good shout. He's a guy who I don't think about him a lot. It's just the rookie tight end thing is kind of gives me a roadblock, a bit of a pause with him, even though he's extremely talented and there's plenty of opportunity in that offense, I would say, with Josh Allen there. Some sleeper guys that I'm looking at, after the unfortunate injury to Tim Patrick, I think there's really a window that opened for Marvin Mims in that offense where it was pretty crowded there. But now there's really there's a real pretty clear path to playing time, and I like the talent there. I think he's a guy who can have some spike weeks for you as well. Then another wide receiver that I'll go to is Jonathan Mingo, who I think has been pretty cheap, but he's another guy who honestly he has the opportunity to get number 1 wide receiver there at the Panthers as well. And Bryce Young, number 1 overall pick, he could come out and sling it a bit to start off, and maybe that's the duo of the future for the Panthers, those two guys, and it could start off here early in the rookie year. So those are a couple guys I'm looking at as sleepers, a little bit cheaper guys to pick up.
Yeah, a great point, and that's another element of this game, the injury component when that happens, what that does for the cascading effect. Mims is a great call. He's still at like $4 at the core, right around 25, 26 at the rare, right around 200-ish, I'll say, at the elite. I think those are some pretty good calls there because, they've got Jerry Jeudy there, but he's always had injury problems, and Cortland Sutton has been inconsistent. So if Mims comes in and gets that rapport with Russell Wilson, again, that opportunity to slide it, it's not like he's going up against Justin Jefferson like Jordan Addison does, who may have the most talent out of all these guys, but opportunity, probably not so much. At least that's what I'm seeing from this. So, okay, I do love the running backs as well. We got to love Bijan Robinson. Looks like he's going to be a star in the league for years to come. Gibbs, it looks like you guys are high on as well. So how about one quarterback? If you had to take one that we want to invest in this rookie class, JJ, I'll send it to you first. Any that you're buying into, or is this really a wait and see? Anthony Richardson, not going to play right away, hurts his Rainmaker value a little bit. So who are you going to if you are?
Yeah, so I'm kind of a wait and see, but Anthony Richardson would be the one, that I would invest in. A lot of the times at the start of the season, I like to focus on, showdown lineups. Like I do like a little analysis of which teams have the most showdown games. And unfortunately, all these rookie teams, they don't have a lot of showdowns, or, some even have 0. So, I'm just going to kind of wait and see to get more of a better read on them here.
Yeah, and especially when he's going to play. Now, if he's going to play week 1, the likelihood, because of his versatility as a quarterback, to be able to hit those ceiling games, definitely there. So, obviously he's taking, team 1 reps, or he's out there with it. So we'll see how that obviously pans out. So, all right. Last thing we'll talk about is any non-superstars that you guys will be targeting either through this preseason set, whenever we get it, sometime next week, or when, of course, the first initial packs drop. Jake, I'll send it to you. Maybe even any, Amon-Ra St. Brown, you can't take him because I love the guy. I know you're a Detroit fan, but I have so many of his editions, and I'll be buying more this year. But Jake, how about anybody else that we should be targeting?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be targeting some of these guys on secondary if they are cheap enough, because we've seen in the past the guys who are basically superstar talent, but they don't have that tag, they get steamed a little extra because everyone's playing them up, right, into the other tiers, and they want to get them in their lineup. So, a guy who I really love, and he's been catching some steam lately because of the positive practice reports, but Calvin Ridley, I'm super high on Calvin Ridley. I think he has legitimate number 1 overall wide receiver upside in that offense with Trevor Lawrence, ascending offense there. just a great talent. I think people kind of forgot about him because he was out a year, and so that's a guy who I've aggressively targeted in best ball, and I'm going to do so as well here in Rainmakers too. I hope the prices aren't out of control.
Yeah, JJ Ridley could be what the Jaguars need to kind of get to that next level, right? We saw them close out the season, superbly. So I'll go to you next. Any players that you'll be targeting when that first set drops out, either on the secondary or be fist pumping when you pull them in a pack?
Not fist pumping, because I'm gonna give you a little bit of a hot one here,
Okay.
but I am targeting Giants players like no tomorrow because, in the first 6 weeks they have all of their showdowns, all 4 of their showdown games in the first 6 weeks.
Alpha.
So you
So like
want
6 type of thing?
all of them, yeah. So you want like all these like role players on there. You want Darren Waller, you want Barkley, you want Daniel Jones. As hot as that might be, no one really wants him, but he's got a high ceiling there, especially in the showdown games. Barkley and Jones were probably in all of the winning showdowns for Giants showdown games last year. So loving that, loving Waller, and even a bit of like Graham Gano and some of those other guys.
Yeah, even their defense, right? We saw one of the winning strategies last year, Poop, as, hey, if it's a defensive game, you throw 3 guys in from the same defense. So interesting there. JJ, great take on that. Obviously, the showdown games, if you're investing in those early enough, you don't even have to play them to turn a profit. You can go to that, obviously, when those players come up and they're in or near projected optimal lineups, their price increases. We saw that a lot of times last year. So, Mike, last bit of tidbits here. I love those first ones. So no pressure on you here, of course, but anybody you'll be targeting or any strategy that you'll be targeting here in the first drop in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Great shouts there all around. I'm totally on board with the Jags, Jake. Right there with you on Ridley. I've also been targeting him wherever I can in the best ball streets. I have a ton of Kirk as well. But really, it's finding these concentrated offenses, especially when you're in the, even in Rainmakers, I still find a lot of value in stacking, whether it's a single or double with your quarterback and getting a little bit of correlation that way. And obviously, it's hard to find offenses that will funnel those targets to a specific 1 or 2 people at a high clip. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith kind of stand out, right? Non-superstars. I'm going to go back to the well on them again. Lead offense, great team. Some of the same risks apply this year. They're going to be, just a dominant team, and they might get out ahead at halftime on some teams, and you kind of lose some volume that way. But I think it's still another spot to target. Some of the other more concentrated teams, you can make a case for the Jags and Ridley and Kirk. They are a little bit more expanded with Ingram and even Zay there as well. But I think as that offense evolves and takes the next step here with Lawrence at the helm, I could really see them funneling to their 2 big playmakers there at the receiver position. And obviously Tyreek is a superstar, but I'm not ever going to shy away from Waddle either. I think he showed that elite upside regardless of Tyreek was on the field. So, yeah.
And it does look like Tua has bulked up. Is that going to help his concussion thing? Well, he's got to get a little bit of protection around him and not put himself in terrible spots. I love watching that offense play. I said it last year. If I could watch Miami, Detroit every single game, that's what I would take. Like just high octane, big time plays, great players to do it. So, really looking forward to the season. Guys, I hope to have you on again before the start of the season. We'll break down maybe some of the market action going on. Of course, I'll be excited to share our optimizer for Rainmakers is almost done.
Nice.
There's obviously a little bit back and forth about that, but I'll tell you. So for PGA, it is done. It saved me an hour and a half this week of making Rainmakers lineups. So it's like, man, maybe I can see my kids on Sunday morning again. So I'll be really excited to share that with you guys. We should have it done by week 1. Maybe by the second week of the preseason, we'll see. We're getting pretty close. So really excited to share that with you. And really excited to talk to you guys about creating kind of that EV. Jake, I heard you talk about that a little bit of trying to kind of formulate that. So we'll have to come back to the drawing table and see if we can, bang some heads and get some good pricing out there before it drops, so that we can really kind of see what to target and where to flip. So again, thanks so much, guys. Before we leave, though, Jake, Poop, JJ, you guys want to say anything else or anything coming out at Metaverse that our fans and friends should know about?
Yeah, just thank you for having us on, Jason. Much appreciated. It was great chatting up. Always fun to talk Rainmakers. Always really down to talk Rainmakers. It's in NFL in general, it's my favorite thing basically.
Yep.
And we do that all the time. I would say in Metaverse HQ too. So if you want to come check us out, come join our community. Metaverse HQ. We have a Rainmakers chat that's extremely active. Poop, JJ, myself, and many others. A couple of guys who are really deep into it. Debating the game, sharing analysis with each other. Calculating EV of stuff. Bumping decisions off of each other. See if it makes sense or not. So
that's in your Discord. Is that right?
Yeah, that's in our Discord. Yep.
Awesome. Well, guys, definitely check that out. Poop, JJ, anything from you guys before we get on out?
Go ahead, JJ.
No. Just wanted to echo Jake's excitement. Just it's my favorite thing in the world. So I just can't wait to get started. And thanks again for having us. Always love to chop up some football, especially Rainmakers. And like Jake said, there's tons of alpha, especially with NFL in our Discord there. And if you contribute, sometimes you can get rewarded too. They give like monthly payouts to the top 5 contributors, and so it's a way to kind of earn the price of admission back also.
That's awesome.
Hey, great shout, JJ. Appreciate it. I'll echo all that. Just really looking forward to this upcoming season of Rainmakers and all the progress with the product and hopefully taking down some W's here with this crew. Shout out to MVHQ and everyone inside the chat there. Lots of strategy and alpha that I would say it's probably hard pressed to find anywhere else, to be honest, as far as Rainmakers and things of that nature are concerned. So really excited to kind of get the ball rolling here even more so into the NFL season. Metaverse_HQ on Twitter. All of our links are there in our bio. So you can find our website, our link to our token and all that stuff if you want to come and check it out. Feel free to DM us if you have any questions at all.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, guys. We will do this again real soon. And for all of you, good luck this week at the Wyndham Championship and as the FedEx Cup playoffs obviously roll on. And, of course, when those preseason packs hit, good luck ripping packs and enjoy the next coming week. So until next time, everybody, cheers.
Thanks, Jason.